Hi gang, and welcome back. And thanks for joining me again for another session. I know I always say a fascinating topic, but I really have a deep connection to this topic because, it's so important. The topic today, if you've already read the description, the topic today, you'd already be aware, is all about goal setting. Goal setting for the purposes of getting your ideal outcome. Now, it would be pretty clear what goal setting is to you, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper. It's often the case, I know before I got into the art and science of hypnosis and NLP, I didn't really understand the importance of it. It's really about telling yourself consciously and being clear consciously, and then sending that message to your deeper mind of what it is you want, whatever context that is. So, health and fitness, relationships, career, family, spirituality, it doesn't matter. If you want to get what you want in any area of life, it's super important to specify and become very clear on the goal that you desire. Now, interestingly enough, I know I was unconsciously taught somewhere along the line that, you got to set your mind to what you want, but I never really placed importance on that and how specific we need to be. So goal setting is really all about getting clear, specifying that outcome to make it happen. The why would you want a goal set? Well, it's again one of those things that seems like a no-brainer on the surface, although if you understand the dynamics of your unconscious mind, of your deeper mind, it becomes a lot clearer as to why you'd want to set clear goals. I know, counterintuitively, I would say something along the lines, probably 10 years or beyond ago, that, hey, I just want to go with the flow. I just want to live my life. I don't want to be planning everything and living by a list and not living authentically and true to myself. And goal setting, interestingly enough, is not about not going with the flow. In fact, quite the opposite. Because the strategy I'm going to share with you in a moment is actually a set and forget strategy. Again, seems counterintuitive, but let me go a little bit deeper. So when we're looking at goal setting with regard to your deeper mind, you may or may not have heard, depending if it was on a previous episode or you're a client of mine, that your unconscious mind is kind of like a 6 or 5-year-old child, very specific. Now, the unconscious mind being the part that regulates, physiology, emotion, memories, behaviors, everything that you do that's on that autopilot, which is most things that we do, honestly. Sad to say, but it's the truth. Almost everything that we do has been installed like an app on a smartphone, and it's running in the background. You don't have to think when you're tying your shoelaces, okay, this lace and that lace and this one over that one. It just happens. It's the same for when you jump in a car or, have a shower in the morning. It's all automated processes that have been installed. Now, your unconscious mind needs some repetition to install programs. That's often the case. Hypnosis can cut down that repetition dramatically. Although it also needs a clearly defined outcome. If you think of a child, and you think about teaching a young child of the age of 6 or 5 or 4, you would stress that child out. You'd confuse the child, or you'd make it very difficult for that child to learn. If you, a shrewd example I like to think of is, go and get my keys. And the child says, where from? And you say, over there. And they say, where? And you say, over there. And they say, where? And as you can see in this example, the child's getting pretty stressed out. I'm relating that back to some events that occurred for me as a child, and maybe that would resonate with you. Go ahead and, I'd like to hear if you can think of any memories like that where you're a little bit confused, and maybe clear communication would have assisted your ability to absorb a transmission or a bit of information. Comment below. Go ahead, comment below if you can think of an event like that. I love to hear about your experiences. So, children don't like messy or unclear delivery of an instruction. It's the same as your deeper mind. I guess a nice way to put it is, if you give it a clear instruction, it's happy to deliver a clear result. If you give it a fuzzy instruction or a messy or a sloppy instruction, guess what, people? Correct, messy result. Well, certainly not exactly what you were hoping for. And another example that comes to mind that I think is really helpful, and I use this in clinics, so some of my clients, if you're one of my clients, comment below if you've heard this metaphor before. One of those examples that I find is super helpful to understand how your unconscious mind works is the drop pin example. We've all, or most of us at least, have used Google Maps or Waze or something like that. Imagine, I'm from Adelaide, so imagine jumping into your car at the hills and saying, just take me east of the city. Maybe you speak that into the phone or you type it in. Now, you're not going to get a drop pin anywhere. If it was a sophisticated enough program, it might give you a region, maybe anywhere 15 k's around where you want to land. But I'm sure you're not going to be at the doorstep, and if you're in the rain, you're going to get wet. So you want to give that device, you want to give that application the specific coordinate so it can take you right there. I don't know about you, but other than time, energy is my most precious resource. I don't want to waste energy on having to maybe do the tidy up when really all I needed to do was get clear in my mind to begin with. When it comes to goal setting, that clarity of mind can often be the challenging part. I'll often speak to people in clinic and we're defining goals, and many people have a roundabout idea of what they want, but many others, when asked, what do you want instead of that problem, instead of the binge eating or the anxiety or the depression or you name it, the chronic pain, what do you want instead? Now with chronic pain you say, I want to be pain free, and that makes a lot of sense. With certain other habits, a lot of people can't answer clearly, and that's fine. It's just a muscle we have to build. But I guess that's where I'm headed, people, to let you know that this is all about muscle building. And if you know what exercise to do, such as what I'm just about to share, you can build that muscle, work it into your routine, and make your life so much easier. More energy. Who doesn't want more of that, right? So now moving on to the steps of how. I'm going to include a fact sheet in the notes. I'll attach some notes to the show notes to the podcast, and they'll be attached for you to be able to get access to them. Please go ahead and just jump on to the Power of Practice or MatthewTweedy.com to get those, easy to find. We're going to start off with a SMART goal. You may or may not be familiar with SMART goals. The overall process, to let you know, is the secret of creating your future. And I can credit my trainer, my NLP trainer, Tad James, and of course, Dr. Adriana James as well, for imparting this wisdom and sharing this magnificent strategy and technique. So the tool or the overall structure is the secret of creating your future. And the first step is a SMART goal. SMART, here's the acronym. I've covered it in a previous episode, but you may or may not be familiar. S, specific. M, measurable. A, all positive language. R, realistic. And T for timed. So we need, or inherently in each one of these letters of the acronym, built in are levels of specificity and ways to measure your progress and how to get your outcome. So make a SMART goal. Write a little movie of how you know you will have your outcome. I know when I was taught, and now I teach clients and students alike, the difference in everyone's got a different evidence procedure. There's some technical jargon for you, but how you'll know you have it, how you know you've got it. And the metaphor that I really like, or the example, is, how will you know you're on a holiday? If you ask 100 people, how will you know you're on your holiday? Well, a portion will raise their hands and say, well, it's when I have actually packed my bags. Then the next portion will raise their hands and say, well, it's actually when I've booked my ticket. The next portion will say, when I'm at the airport booking in. And then you have a portion of people that will say, actually on the plane. That leaves another portion of people that will say, hey, I'm not on my holiday till I'm on the beach or on the slopes having a cup of cocoa with the big, wonderful, warm, quilted jacket on. So we've all got a different evidence procedure, and horses for courses. So whatever yours is, become clear on that, and that's part of writing that into your SMART goal. A little movie of how you know you have it. Once you've got your SMART goal, it's all about the secret of creating your future. Now, the most powerful way to ensure that you make this stick is certainly to ensure you've cleared all the negative emotions, limiting beliefs, and got everything in place. It's kind of like if you were going to put down a road base, you'd want to do the preparation first. So preparation is key. It doesn't mean that this isn't going to be highly effective for you without doing that groundwork. The secret of creating your future, there are some steps involved. The first is create that SMART goal. So we've covered that base. Now, it's about understanding what that looks like, and we're going to guide you through what it looks like. We start off, once you've got the SMART goal, we'll move through and I'll guide you through. From this portion, if you wanted to actually follow along, you could actually run through this process once you've got your SMART goal from this point. Allow your eyes to close. And if you were driving, or make sure that you don't do that, allow your eyes to close. That's right. Just allow your eyes to close, and then go ahead and create that goal for yourself through your own eyes. See it. See you there with that goal. See the things you see, hear the things you hear, feel the feelings. Do it through your own eyes. See the entire scene through your own eyes now. That's right. Now, when you're satisfied that you've got you've created a wonderful image of that with your imagination, go ahead and reverse. Just reverse out of the image. Seeing yourself in the image like you're seeing yourself on a movie screen. That's called dissociated. So see yourself dissociated in the scene. And then go ahead and imagine, just like an old TV set, some knobs at the bottom, knobs for color, contrast, brightness. saturation, and make the appropriate tweaks and adjustments to make it the most compelling for you, make it extremely desirable. Knowing that your unconscious mind loves color, this is going to ensure that it will assist you to go and get it, to make it happen. Once you've made those tweaks, you'll be ready for the next step. Now that you've made it compelling, you're actually going to float up out of your body, above your timeline, out into the future. Floating up out of your body into the future and hovering directly up above the event. That specific date, and looking down on that date. We're about to put 4 ha breaths. They're breaths of life, and they come from Hawaiian huna. The metaphor is you're going to fill this image with life, and your unconscious mind loves rituals. These breaths of life are a ratio of 1 on the in-breath, and 2 on the out-breath. And they've got a very deliberate, naturally aspirated sound. So go ahead and put your heart into these breaths to really leverage the process. In through the nose, out through the mouth. 1, in through the nose. 2, in through the nose. 3, in through the nose. 4 ha breaths. Now that is filled with life, you're going to let it go and watch it float down into your timeline. That's right, just watch it float down, down, down into your timeline. Looks like my breaths of light have just sucked the juice out of my light for my filming, which is fantastic. Don't mind that. Now that that's filled with a wonderful life and light, just let that image go and watch it float down, down, down into your timeline and click into place. Watch it click into place right into that spot, that specific date that you've given your goal. And once it's clicked into place, watch every event between then and now re-evaluate itself to support that goal becoming your reality. Float back into your body, back into the room, open your eyes, and that's the process. So I didn't elicit your timeline. I'll create another video, I'll create another episode on that, but I think you get the gist. I've got some information out there already on timeline elicitation, but I'll give you an explicit one at a later date. If you've got any questions about this process and how to create your future, how to create abundance, how to create the life that you want, I'm here to help. Reach out. I'd love to hear your questions. This is Matthew Tweedy. Find me at Matthew Tweedy Hypnosis on my website, matthewtweedyhypnosis.com.au, Matthew Tweedy Hypnosis on Instagram, Facebook, of course, Empowered NLP, and the podcast, The Power of Practice. I really look forward to speaking to you again. Ciao for now, and keep growing and evolving.